What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Nerdy Mark channel. I am Sid the Nerdy Mark, and today I have your review of NXT and 205 Live. Now, I'm going to make this one really quick as it is getting a little late tonight, and I do have to get to work in the morning and whatnot. I do want to really quick announce that this Friday I will have another list of Nerdy Mark instead of a nerd discussion. This one is going to be a live list of Nerdy Mark, featuring my good friend Tim Farley from Armbar Audio. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think y'all are going to enjoy it. So look out for that this Friday. So with that being said, let's get into our WWE Network shows, starting with NXT. NXT began with tag team actions with Heavy Machinery taking on the Forgotten Sons, and this was a pretty substandard match. I didn't really care much for it. Heavy Machinery doing their thing as always. I always get the feeling that Heavy Machinery could break up in the near future, and the person who's going to turn would be Tucker Knight. He just looks like that, doesn't he? He just does. The match ended when Otis Dozovic hit his really interesting looking finisher, where he kind of grabbed one of the Forgotten Sons. As they were jumping, he grabbed them and he kind of like threw them up in the air and slammed them onto the ground. That looked really cool. And then, of course, getting the pin. So this was good. Heavy Machinery won, possibly hinting at a tag team title opportunity in the near future. Hopefully it's against War Raiders, because that's a match that I really want to see. We then have Shayna Baszler flanked by Jessamine Duke and Marina Shafir, her four horsewomen buddies from UFC, giving an interview to Kathy Kelly when she is interrupted by William Regal. Regal says that Shayna Baszler will have a rematch with Kairi Sane for the NXT Women's title, and it's going to be at TakeOver War Games, and it will be a 2 out of 3 falls match. So this should be really interesting, and I do know definitely that Duke and Schaefer will get involved. I would love for Io Shirai and Toni Storm to be on Kairi Sane's side. I think that would be really cool. Maybe then have a huge 6-woman tag match in the future between both these two factions. So I'd like to see that. This should be interesting. Sticking with the women's division, we then had Dakota Kai, the captain of Team Kick, taking on Tainara Conchi. I have to say one thing. Tainara Conchi, she's a black belt, I get it, but she like holds up her black belt like it's a title, and she like shoves it in your face as if her opponent is fighting for that. I just find that kind of interesting. This was a pretty decent match. I liked this one a lot. Tainara Conchi, of course, showing off her martial arts prowess. Dakota Kai doing her kicks and whatnot. Pretty good. I liked it. The match ended with Dakota Kai hitting what she calls the chiropractor, because, you know, her last name and chiropractor, it's a portmanteau of both those words, for the win. So this was cool. Dakota Kai, of course, is now on the NXT UK brand, so it's cool. I like that. It's good to see that they're sharing superstars across both NXT brands, so that's good stuff. Now we get our answer to the question that everyone was asking last week. Why Johnny? Why did Johnny Gargano attack Aleister Black? Well, Johnny Gargano does appear via iPhone selfie camera and explains his actions. He says that he did it because he basically wanted to single out Tommaso Ciampa all for himself. He didn't want Aleister Black to be there. He wanted Ciampa all to himself. Makes sense, because Ciampa has literally and figuratively been the bane of Gargano's existence. Speaking of which, Johnny Gargano says that he had to go into the darkness and he's in a very dark place.
Oh, you think darkness is your ally? You merely adopted the dark. I was born in it, molded by it. I didn't see the light until I was already a man.
It is now time for our main event. The Velveteen Dream taking on Lars Sullivan in a very chaotic match. I like this one. Even though this wasn't like a no disqualification or anything, it was still pretty chaotic. Velveteen Dream tried to actually hit the Dream Valley driver onto Lars Sullivan a couple of times. He doesn't do it the first time, but of course he hits it the second time. Then he goes up to the top rope to hit the the Purple Rainmaker, or well, I mean, they just called it the elbow drop, but yeah. Then Tommaso Ciampa came in to distract Dream, who he then attacked, and then Dream went back in the ring. Boom, freak accident. Lars Sullivan wins. Tommaso Ciampa looks very happy. He goes in the ring, tries to get the upper hand on Dream. He tries to hit his, I forget the name of Tommaso Ciampa's finisher. Let me know in the comments below what it's called, or I'll put it right here once I look it up. He's trying to hit his finisher, but Dream breaks out, hits the super kick, and then basically hits Sister Abigail onto Tommaso Ciampa. Then he gets on the top rope. He wants to hit his elbow drop on Ciampa. The referees come in, try to break both of them up. Dream goes out, comes back in, hits the elbow drop onto Ciampa, and then picks his title up and raises it as if he has won, kind of like Nikki Cross. Speaking of which, Nikki Cross did make her debut on SmackDown Live, and guess what? She gets to join her Sanity brothers in getting her ass handed to her. What a fantastic debut for Nikki Cross. I love it. This is why I'm not reviewing main roster WWE. But anyway, this was a good match. This was a good episode of NXT. But now, let's move on to 205 Live. 205 Live began with Kalisto and Lince Dorado of Lucha House Party taking on TJP and Neville, Mike Kanelis. Speaking of Neville / Pac / Pac, whatever his name is. Welcome back, you beautiful son of a bitch. This was a really good match. I enjoyed this quite a bit. Grand Metalik, of course, wasn't here because he and his wife gave birth to a new baby, so congratulations to Grand Metalik on that. Really quick, I want to talk about one spot in this match. When TJP and Mike Kanelis are in the ring, and Lince Dorado was in the ring, Lince Dorado basically hit a double gun stun on both of them. That looked really, really cool. The double sunset flipped onto the outside. Good stuff there. The match, of course, did end when TJP rips off Lince Dorado's mask once again, goes for the mask. Then Lince Dorado gets up. He has another mask on. He's flossing and whatnot. And this distracts TJP, which allows Dorado to hit the Hurricane Rana for the 1-2-3. And Lucha House Party win. They get some retribution for all the weeks of torture that TJP has been giving them. And then Maria Kanellis consoles the heels, saying that she's got a plan. So possibly we'll find out next week. We then got Lio Rush taking on Josh Morrell. And before this, there was a backstage segment with Lio Rush and Cedric Alexander, which I will talk about after this. But this was a good match. Pretty competitive for the most part. However, Lio Rush does hit the final hour onto Josh Morrell for the 1-2-3, and then he cuts a promo on Cedric Alexander saying that he respects him and he likes him and whatnot, and that he's a hard worker, but he's not ready for the man of the hour and whatnot. And Cedric Alexander, I'm going to beat you next week. That's basically the promo. So it was good promo, decent match. And next week, we're going to have Cedric Alexander versus Lio Rush. I'm excited for that. So as I mentioned, there was a backstage segment or a pre-recorded segment involving Lio Rush and Cedric Alexander. Alexander was training at the Performance Center where Lio Rush showed up and started making fun of him because he was going back to school. And then Cedric Alexander said, maybe you should stop carrying Bobby Lashley's bags around and maybe you'll learn something. I don't blame Cedric Alexander for giving that advice because Bobby Lashley is a big man and he must have really big bags. Lio Rush's puny physique will probably be crushed under those bags. So that's some good sound advice there, Cedric. This, of course, is what is going to lead to their match next week. So this should be good. I don't know if this is going to end Rush's undefeated streak. It really shouldn't. I think it should be someone like Buddy Murphy who does it. Maybe Mustafa Ali does it. Who knows? This was a good segment. I like this. Then we had a promo from Mustafa Ali, a little selfie promo. It was really good. He's talking about how he's the heart of NXT and whatnot. Next week, we are going to get Akira Tozawa and Brian Kendrick teaming up against Drew Gulak and Gentleman Jack Gallagher. So that should be a really good match, as well as Rush versus Alexander. So I'm excited for both those matches next week. It is now time for our main event. Buddy Murphy, the Cruiserweight Champion, in his first match since Super Showdown, taking on NXT UK's Mark Andrews. And across NXT and 205 Live, I'm loving this inter-brand cross-pollination going on between these two brands. This is really good stuff. I would say, why can't the main roster do that? But then we saw what happened to Nikki Cross, as I mentioned. So I'm kind of glad they're keeping it between these two brands, because if any of them go up to main, they're going to get their asses handed to them. So, and that will be fun, won't it? But then again, Lucha House Party did pretty well. So I don't know. So I guess it's just NXT stars. I don't know. I guess Vince McMahon just hates NXT. Good match. Mark Andrews really doing an amazing job against the juggernaut Buddy Murphy. One spot I do want to definitely talk about, Buddy Murphy did have Mark Andrews on his shoulders, which Mark Andrews then reversed into like a reverse Hurricane Rana. This made Buddy Murphy go out into the ring, go outside the ring. That was really cool. I loved that whole thing. But however, the match did end with Buddy Murphy finally getting the upper hand and hitting the Murphy's Law onto Mark Andrews to win the match. But I still think that this was really good. Mark Andrews showing a lot of resolve here. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a cruiserweight title opportunity sometime down the line, because he did a fantastic job here. So he is the real MVP of this match. So overall, I thought both shows did have some pretty good stuff to offer. In NXT, I did enjoy Johnny Gargano's promo. And of course, I loved Velveteen Dream versus Lars Sullivan, with, of course, Tommaso Ciampa getting involved and whatnot. On 205 Live, I am liking the Lio Rush, Cedric Alexander stuff. That's good stuff. TJP, Mike Kanelis, that team I think still has a ways to go. However, I don't know why they made them eat a loss on their first match together. I get it that Lucha House Party needs retribution, but they can afford to eat a loss. This is a new tag team that we formed with Mike Kanelis and TJP. I think you should have given them the win in this. But still, I liked the match. It was still good. The main event was really good too. Buddy Murphy, again, Mark Andrews, amazing us throughout. Again, I'm loving NXT and 205 Live and their cross-pollination. But let's keep it between these two brands. Please don't send anyone up to Raw and SmackDown for right now, because they're going to get destroyed by Vince's boys or Vince's girls. So that pretty much concludes my thoughts on NXT and 205 Live this week. Let me know what you guys thought about both shows in the comment section below. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on social media and tell your friends about the Nerdy Mark. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you so much for the support. This is Sid signing off. You guys take care. Bye-bye.